Здравствуйте, товарищи, and welcome back to another episode of our glorious Workers and Resources Soviet Republic Let's Play. A tremendous day lies ahead of our beautiful nation today, folks, as our engineers come to us with some strange new discoveries. They have uncovered the mysteries of raised pedestrian pathways. They speak to me of curved bridges, can you imagine? Folks, I'm of course talking about the latest beta build that is now accessible on Steam and that I have installed, which means there's a lot to explore and there's a lot to talk about, folks, so I will not bore you with a prolonged introduction. Just want to mention, as always, very important, that's why I say it all the time, folks, if you've been enjoying this series, if you would like to see it continue, please don't hesitate to keep letting me know by leaving a like and a comment down below. Not only does it let me know that y'all are still interested and would like to see the series continue, but it also lets YouTube know and the YouTube algorithm know that folks are still interested in this series, and so it keeps pushing it, and it helps this channel grow, it helps this series grow and continue as well, folks. On that note as well, of course, I do read all of the comments, so if you have any thoughts, opinions, anecdotes, anything you'd like to share, drop it down below. It will get read, and it will get addressed in one way, shape, or form. Folks, like I said, no prolonged introduction. Let's get this party started. There is a lot to talk about. The first order of business, I think, is to actually highlight some of these massive new changes that have been implemented today. I say today, I mean earlier this week, technically speaking. I want to be clear again, because every time a new beta comes out, the question comes up, so I just want to let everybody know, if you would like to actually have these new features available for yourself as well right now, first of all, be forewarned, it is a beta, that means it's more likely to have issues, but all you need to do is go to Steam, right-click on the game in your library, go over to, I believe it's in Properties. Steam changed the UI a few months ago. It's under Properties. There's a tab called Betas, and you can opt into this current beta. I believe it's called Testing. And then you'll have access to all the things I'm about to show you. But again, please be forewarned, it is in beta. That is why it's called beta. That's why it doesn't automatically install. There might be some issues, but they're sort of fine-tuning that stuff, which is kind of what the latest community update was about as well, the latest dev diary, as it were. Now, I would love to hear your feedback on my approach today. We've done it before, but I'd love to know if you'd like it in this format. Previously, I've heard yes, opinions can change, but the first thing we're going to do today is actually take a look at some of the new things that have been implemented very quickly, and then we're going to resume our work with our nuclear city and our nuclear town and our nuclear facilities, but there's a lot more to consider on that front as well, some of the stuff that we've actually talked about previously. Now, first order of business with regards to this new update is line spacing, which I discussed a few times in the past, is now integrated into the game just by sort of as a standard, I should say. So you no longer have to activate cheat mode, go over to, I believe it's under general debug cheat functions. Yeah, there used to be a few more tabs over here. One of them was line spacing. You'd have to activate that to get I believe it was like equidistant spacing between vehicles on the same line. That was my understanding of it. It was recommended to me to turn on a long time ago because it's actually the intended way for things to work, and it seems now, several months after I was initially sort of told to use that, they've finally come through and they've integrated it, so that's great. Another thing, actually, on this menu, since we have it open, I don't recall, this button feels like a new button. Loading from this menu. For some reason, I might be wrong about this one, but for some reason I remember quitting and then having to load from the main menu. It might either be that, or I think I might be thrown off by the fact that there's no more Save to Cloud button. That was a separate button. So something here has changed, and I can't put my finger on it. But the big thing here that's changed is, of course, these time-lapse settings. So you can actually, I'm very curious as to how it works and how much space it takes and stuff like that in terms of the images that are being saved. But you're able to set a camera location, basically. I haven't done too much. I've tested some of the new features. I haven't tested every new feature, but I have tested some of the new features, especially the ones that are, well, they work in fairly interesting ways, because I wanted to be able to talk about it today before we dive into all the usual work and the usual procedures. But yeah, so you're able to set your camera up. Why don't we go ahead and set it up like this? Let's see if this works, right, and how this works. Why don't we set it up like this, because the construction here has started. We do have the construction offices coming through, and the road has been connected as of last session. So I want to go ahead and do this, and we'll see what it does. Let me see over here. Get the nice reflection of the sun, get the nice long shadows. You'll see us develop the sort of tourism area. Hopefully we'll get to that today. and then further down the city as well, and across the... Yeah, this is not the only spot we'll ever do a time-lapse from, but I'm curious. So set current camera position as time-lapse camera position. Done. And now if I move somewhere else and I click on this button, it'll pull us right back here, which is great for me because I like having this kind of stuff, like starting and ending at the same spot and that kind of stuff, but you can only have one point saved at any given time, it looks like. You can just take a screenshot, so if I click that, presumably a screenshot has been taken and placed somewhere. If I enable time-lapse, every 100 seconds it'll come back here and take a... You know what, 100 seconds is too often. I want to go ahead and say... If 60 seconds is a minute... You know what, sure, well, actually, well, fine. Let's go ahead and say 60. That's actually not as much as I thought over the course of an entire episode. Frequency in seconds. I assume this means every 60 seconds it'll take a picture. Every minute it'll take a picture. In 60 minutes we'll end up with 60 pictures, right? We'll find out. I'll report in like a pinned comment or something. So let's enable the time lapse and let's go ahead and call it test. Bam. All right, cool. So that should be interesting. Now I don't know if that's in-game time or just, you know, active play time even when paused. Now as I point out the pause button over here, you'll recognize there is a new little section over here that shows us not only wind speeds, but on clicking, it shows us what the current temperature is, I assume. And again, you can flip back and forth between that. As I mentioned previously, weather is now an actual consideration. It will rain during our session. Hopefully we'll see the rain come through. I don't know exactly what all it impacts, but it does. There are visual differences, and you actually see rain falling and stuff, which is pretty neat. Yeah, this is still all broken up. I can't wait to get buildings and stuff down over here so we can, you know, so we don't have to look at this eyesore anymore. Great regrets about that. I'm glad we put the airport down here after all, but like this is unfortunate that this stays so patchy. But anyway, so that's that taken care of. There are a few other things. I mean, again, we're talking about the nuclear city and nuclear power, but there are other sources of power being added as well. Ooh, man, these segues, I'm top of my game with these segues today. Though that's actually a terrible segue because I started talking about nuclear power a long time ago and then I came back to it now to enable the segue. So in reality, it's a bad one, folks. Come on. But yes, there are new sources of power. Wind power has been integrated and there's also solar power. Now, we were told previously that these sources of power will produce less power, but they also will not produce pollution. So, you know, the pros and cons, of course. So you'd need... Let's take a comparison over here right now. We've got our... Oh, did you see that flicker? I guess that was a screenshot being taken. Hopefully, again, when the beta is done, or maybe in a build down the line, they'll find a way to smooth that out, because that flickering is weird. And if it starts getting frustrating over the course of the recording, I'll stop the time lapse. But that would take some getting used to. Anyway, sorry. So if a twin nuclear power plant produces over 9,000 megawatt hours of power, you can see how minuscule these wind power plants are, and the solar power plant is as well. In fact, it would take 3 solar power plants to match the coal power plant that the game kind of launched into early access with, right? But that's fine though. You know, that's why you see these big solar panel fields and you see these wind farms and what have you, right? And it's to represent that. So I like that. But again, it is clean energy. It is clean energy, and the wind power plants, it looks like they don't even need workers. The solar power plant does, just a handful. So there you go. They're your pros and cons. And you know what? That I can't imagine that is nice to watch. I'm going to stop the time lapse, and y'all let me know if you want me to experiment with this later. But that is a whole wow. that is not just a flicker. That is a pretty big stutter, and I can imagine it being even more if I'm looking completely elsewhere. But yeah, so those are the new power sources that I've seen. I don't see any other changes to power production, though. I don't recall these things being listed under this screen. If you look at infrastructure, if we take a look at power, you'll see all this stuff is still the same as it used to be. High voltage and medium voltage, that's all the same. So nothing new here. But that is power taken care of. Now, while I was kind of flipping through infrastructure over here, now this is a good segue. You can see over here we've got fences. This is a completely new thing. You can actually build fences much like any other piece of infrastructure. You can drag lines out. We've got these I don't know what Mauer is, but I guess it's more like a wall than it is a chain link fence or something. It's bigger. But anyway, you can put fencing down. You can put down gates as well, but it looks like the gates are only for roads. You can't have pedestrians coming through, and I assume this is for the lead up to something they mentioned in one of their dev diaries, which is that they want to do a whole prison system and whatnot, right? So I imagine this is kind of tied to that, but it's nice. You can make some cool kind of sequestered spaces. You can make some neat parks and stuff and add a fence and whatnot, you know, call it a dog park or something for yourself, for your headcanon. But yeah, it's pretty neat, but I do wish there was a gate for pedestrians. Undoubtedly, mods will make it happen, but it'd be nice for it to be a base consideration in the game as well. Beyond that as well, since we are looking at infrastructure, where to next? Let's go ahead and take a look at roads and use this as a sort of focal point for a couple of other things as well. Now, first of all, as far as the roads are concerned, you might be able to tell that some of these bridges have their thumbnails changed, and that's because the game, I guess, wants to be crystal clear about which ones you can curve and which ones you cannot. So brick bridges cannot be curved, but these concrete and prefab bridges can be curved, and again, there are a couple other types of bridges that can be curved either. Pretty self-explanatory. Tunnels cannot be curved. So if you try to build a road tunnel, from what I've seen, it works the same way as before. Let me see if I can't find a... There we go. It works the same way as before, but there is a difference here in that you can now view underground passages. So this is a rail tunnel, sure, but you know, same theory applies obviously. Over here we've got a road tunnel. You can actually see these guys, you know, and see who's going where and when and why. Unfortunately though, you are not able to place waypoints underground. And in a similar sense, when it comes to trains, you're not able to place any semaphores underground either. So when we talked about potentially being able to kind of break these up into further blocks, that is not an option. Now, I don't know if that's representative of the real world. I don't know if in the real world you always consider tracks to be a tunnel to be one block. I would imagine for like safety and stuff like that, perhaps that is the case. But feel free to correct me. There are many of you who know much more about trains in the comments than I do, for sure. So feel free to correct me on that point, but you cannot do it in the game. At least there's that. You'll notice as well, there is the truss bridge that trains can have be curved. So you know, if you want to do curved bridges for trains, there's only the one option. Let's get out of the underground mode. Talking about the ground, though, there are new ways to look at how the ground is actually shaped. There's the wireframe that we're familiar with. There is also the topography itself. I'm a big fan of topographical maps. I find them so cool. But also, this is a much more informative, I think at least, much more informative overlay than just the wireframe. You can actually see how things are curved and things like that. I guess I wish the color coding had to do more with height from sea level. Does it, or is it just flatness? Because a lot of the time you want things to match up on two sides, and it looks like it might. You know, we'll experiment with it and find out. Because if it is height from sea level, which is what I would like it to be, it would be much easier to plan these kinds of things out. You know, you go like, okay, I need to get this to, let's say, blue, I need to get this to blue, and now I know they're at the same level. But I mean, it might be that right now. It's a little hard to tell. Nah, see, how can this be red and this also be red? This is the color coding is for steepness. It's a measurement of steepness. If something is super steep, it's red. If it's not so steep, it's yellow. If it's flat, it is white. Fair enough. Also important information, but with color coding, you'd be able to say, you know, I should be able to say this is not the same height as that very quickly looking up from up top over here without relying on shadows or anything. Anyway, just my little feedback on the topographical view over there. Let me know if you think I'm completely, you know, I've lost my marbles, or if I'm on point there, but I think topographical maps should tell you height from sea level across the board. But moving on from that, let's actually take a look at the last option over here, near snap, with the help of one of these curved bridges. Why not? So let's say we've got our curved bridge over here. Actually, this one's pretty neatly done. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at the other one over here that is pretty janky and jittery, but we'll use this as a reference point anyway. I might rebuild this. I might just leave it as it is because it does the job. But let's go ahead and build a concrete bridge. We're not actually going to build this one. This is just for display purposes. Let's go ahead and raise this up. Sure. We're not auto building. I want to make sure I don't accidentally build one of these. We raise it up, and let's say we want to like follow this curve, right? We can now actually curve. Look at that. Look at how much smoother that is actually. So we can actually curve this now and it follows like more logical rules for curving, the same as roads and whatnot. But you can see just how much smoother it actually is, and you can go up and down while you're doing these curves too. So you know, if you wanted to curve up and curve down, then you can absolutely do that. This is not a good example because I didn't actually. There we go. How about we do this? So yeah, you can totally ramp up, ramp down. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I think it works really nicely, and it's great that this is there. Unfortunately, it still does not allow you to have intersections. Now I know you might be thinking, well, why would you want an intersection with a raised platform? But I would assume that's kind of the logical way to go about making a sort of a highway, right? But there are people out there who very cleverly manage to make the system work. Hopefully they come up with something a bit more workable for us. For us, not as clever folk, I suppose. I'll try and figure it out myself as well. But anyway, and that's one thing. Now you can see, you know, that worked really nicely with the curves and all. But I don't think I can fit one right next to it. Let's try it out. If I go ahead into the concrete bridge once more, and I say, all right, let's go ahead and establish another one over here. Lining it up is a horrible mess. But if I go ahead and turn on near snap, go ahead and pull you out to here. Go ahead and pull you out to here. You can see, like, we don't have crossing available over here, but you can see what I'm getting at. It pulls all the information with regards to the curve and the height, and it establishes parallel lines, much like the tracks used to do since, you know, day one, basically. You can now do it with roads. I assume, because this is a checkbox up over here, you can also do it with pedestrian paths and whatnot. So why don't we go ahead and segue on over, after I delete this, to talking about pedestrian crossings. So let's go ahead and get rid of all you guys. Yeah, looks like we're all clear over here. But I do love how those bridges curve, right? I do love how those bridges curve. Let's keep near snap on and flip on over to the footpaths. So as I was kind of joking about during the introduction, there are now raised footpaths. There are pedestrian overpasses. The way they work is you first have to put down a sort of staircase. I'm trying to think of a good spot to put these guys down. I mean, this is going to be a game changer. In fact, there was a comment last session, I think, in the comments, someone said, like, they're a game changer, and I totally see what you're talking about, but I can't think of a good place to give an example. Why don't we... Ooh, this is unfortunate. I guess the latest update has maybe changed how layering works or something. We'll take a look at that, but why don't we go ahead and put you... Interesting how this works, eh? Because you can see how the crossings line up or don't. So let's go ahead and put you down like... This is just for experiment anyway, right? Let's pop you down here, and then you go ahead and get your footpath out. Oh no, sorry, you get your pedestrian bridge out, depending on the type you want. And you're able to hook these guys up and, you know, move them wherever you need them to move. Let's go ahead and pull you out this way. Will this curve is the question. It will not curve. Okay, I see. Interesting. So there's a bit of challenge. I think as well, you can't just kind of build it floating, much like bridges and whatnot in general. You have to have your start point, you have to have your end point, and then you have to establish the connections. So what you'd have to do is build multiple like ins and outs if you want to. Actually, hang on a second. Let me build this one out. Is it like... Oh, I see, because it goes right down to over here. Okay, just wondering what was allowing me to do that there. Just go ahead and get rid of this. Go ahead and put down... There you go. Auto connection's working as well. That's good. Can I raise and lower? I cannot. So it is all fixed height of the structure itself, which is... okay. Like to see that be adjustable. I understand it might not be an easy thing to do on the dev side, but would definitely like it to be adjustable. Go ahead and put this down over here, and you can see relatively easily... I can pop this thing down. We now have a pedestrian connection. Oh, you told me you would connect. You lied to me. You lied to me, game. A momentary hit of play there. This should connect. So relatively easily, we have connected, you know, this to up over here, let's say. Able to cross right over this. And I think, I mean, again, this might seem like a very simple thing, but it does change quite a bit because you have to take into consideration all those times where we've had to use a modded factory crossing, for example, to make sure that people were able to get where they needed to go. So I would say this is a pretty big deal. I'm loving it at least. Go ahead and get rid of this. Yeah, there we go. Make sure this thing is gone as well. These things count as buildings as opposed to pathing. I don't know if there's like probably a dev reason for that, but it is what it is. You can also, by the way, let's go ahead and check real quick. If I put down... can I not... I'm trying to find where I can test. This is like automatically snapping to that. It looks like near snap is actually not working for pedestrian pathways, sorry. Which is fine, it's not the end of the world. Just something I was wondering about. It works for tracks and roads, though. Beyond that, there are, if we look at pipelines, there are now underground pipe connections as well. If we take a look at conveyor belts, they are what they were before. Nothing's changed over here. And factory connections still the same as before. A little reorganized, maybe. I can't remember right now for the life of me. But overall, still the same as they were before. We haven't even got to the biggest thing yet. One thing I do want to check, though, is they'd mentioned that they wanted to make it so that you could paint things like asphalt and whatnot. It doesn't look like that's actually in here just quite yet. Doesn't look like they've gone ahead and put that in yet. I couldn't imagine where it would be. I haven't seen any other new buildings, by the way. I might be mistaken. Again, I did do a kind of once over, but it's so easy to like miss stuff sometimes. Obviously, you've noticed something new over here, which is what we're going to actually talk about next. But I haven't seen anything else new in my sort of exploring. If you've noticed me miss something, then feel free to point it out. And when I come back, there we go. When I come back, we'll take a look at the stuff that I've missed. So you can actually put down asphalt squares, airplane squares, and gravel squares. So why don't we go ahead and put down an asphalt square over here. You can see how not perfectly straight my my space is over here, but if we drop this down, there you go. Now it looks like it rotates to the camera, kind of like how the clone tool used to work, which I actually kind of like for this, because that allows for irregular shapes to be covered, like we're doing right here, right? Oh yeah, this is good. This is good. I like this. Looks like the train is cutting through over there. Fair enough, fair enough. But there you go. Yeah, I knew they were talking about it, and I was like, I'm just not sure if they've done it yet. It does look like it layers below roads and stuff, so you can actually feel a bit more free form with this, and take a few more kind of open like risks with its placement, for example. The question becomes, though, how do you get rid of it? Presumably, cancel secondary road. There you go. Interesting. Interesting to see how this must be working behind the scenes. And I guess asphalt roads and stuff, like, why would you... For decorative purposes, I suppose, nothing more. Yeah, I mean, this is in the decoration screen. So if you want it to look like a place is a complex without actually having the game calculate it as one, you're able to do that. Like, look at this. This feels, you know what? Oh, this is really cool. Just from a purely visual perspective, this is fantastic. Because now, like, yeah, look at that. It feels like this is one giant unit. Oh, dude, this is cool. This is cool. This is great. This is fantastic. I wonder how else I want to maybe adjust this to make this work better. Let's just go ahead and extend this down to here. Can I, though? Let's see if we can't clean this up. Can I get rid of the... There we go. Cool. All right, I am super pleased with this. Yeah, I was really hoping they'd get it in this update, because I think it's quite a cool one. Quite a cool piece of, like, you know, tech, or quite a cool upgrade. The only question remains is making sure that the footpaths actually integrate. You know, because, like, I would like my footpaths to also look like asphalt, I suppose, in a parking lot, for example, and that's not an option. However, what is an option is to... I'm going to avoid clicking auto build right now, just in case. We'll tackle that later. Anyway, the thing that you may have noticed when I was looking at construction-related industry is this helicopter construction office. Yes, folks, choppers are finally in the game. They're under the airplane section, which I imagine they will rename to aircraft, because I don't think a helicopter counts as an airplane, right? That's kind of it's an aircraft, but it's not an airplane, right? Again, correct me if I'm wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate. This stuff gets really interesting, and we're actually going to be using some of this stuff today. There is the helicopter construction office, which is the primary thing I think we'll be using. We talked about this previously, getting resources down over here via helicopter rather than trucking it down would be an interesting endeavor as we establish the new space. So that's, I think, what we're going to look at. There are also, of course, passenger platforms too. If you want people to move around from place to place, then you're able to do exactly that. Now, there were a couple of things. I did a bit of experimentation with heliports and choppers. Did I say a couple of experimentation? I did a bit of experimentation. And these things are very interesting. We talked about this with regards to the dev diaries, and today we're actually going to see how they work. What I would love to do is... It's going to be difficult to reverse engineer some of these spaces. And we talk about this often about starting a new playthrough, and every time this happens is when I become hesitant to commit to a new playthrough, to a new nation, as it were, before the 1.0 release. These helicopters, these helipads, heliports, whatever you want to call them, they would have completely forced us to revamp how some of the things have been laid out. And I know some of you will say, oh, you know, if you just left some more space between stuff, it wouldn't be that much of a challenge. And okay, sure, absolutely. But to what extent, right? How many more things will get added before I've run out of space, even though I made a lot of space? You know what I mean? So that's what makes me hesitant to do that. With that said, though, let's start integrating some of this stuff. Now, with regards to... All right, I'm going to go ahead and put down... We've got the construction offices down over here. I don't think it wouldn't be nice to have a chopper... Actually, that's not too far away. I lived pretty close to a to a base once when I was much younger, and we'd get choppers flying in and out at least like once or twice a week. It wasn't that bad. In fact, as a child, it was super cool. I don't remember being too loud or disruptive. Maybe I'm horribly wrong, and the cool factor of a chopper flying overhead has made me forget just how painful the experience actually is. But I don't think this is a terrible spot. We have a lot of stuff being stored over here, which is why if I could get the choppers to work somewhere over here, that would be great. We could maybe establish them down over here so it's not too far to truck the cargo over, and then they'd have to chopper all the way across up to there. Initially, I was thinking about doing it at Party Power, just outside Party Power up over here at these construction offices. But now that I think about it, this is more organized, this is more centralized, right? Because up over here, it's a bit of a mess, to be honest. Because this was our first go at building some of the infrastructure. So I think it's fair that it was a mess, but it is a bit of a mess. So back down over here, I think, is the right spot for it. Now, these choppers, like I was saying, these choppers do more than just send cargo around. You can send cargo around for, you know, cargo purposes, delivering goods, exporting goods, or what have you, moving goods from place to place. You can also use them for construction, like I'm showing you right now, or you can move people around. And before we establish this work down over here, let me just show you something really cool. I won't have room for it, actually. So we're going to go ahead and pretend to build something off to the side over here where I actually probably should be building one of these. Let's go ahead. Ooh, they've updated the construction graphics as well. Yeah, I forgot to point that out. Look at that. A lot more detailed over here. Actually building a proper like grid and foundation and stuff, and scaffolding and whatnot. Yeah, they've updated these visuals for sure. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So let's go ahead and establish. We've got our schools and stuff over here. I need to actually resume this construction over here. Ooh, notify me when finished. That's a nice little checkbox. Something that's gonna actually, on the topic of notify, we're gonna be seeing a lot more notifications. They've moved this button up over here. I like that. We're going to be seeing a lot of notifications. They've changed how notifications work. We'll be getting notifications for a lot of stuff, folks. So just a heads up until we kind of figure some of that stuff out. We've got the school up over here. Cool. This is all the... Oh, this is a hospital. Oh, okay, wonderful. Actually, you know what? In that case, we got to get power up over here. Hospital without power is kind of useless. We have a switch over here. We don't. We should make this into a switch. All right, let's we're kind of like getting into things now, because the heliports are actually something I wanted to establish right off the bat. Some of the other stuff I felt like we weren't going to get to soon. Hold on one sec over here. Medium voltage switch. For example, the solar power, for example, we're not going to be integrating anytime soon. We're working on nuclear power right now. So I just want to highlight some of those things and the curved bridges and whatnot. I want to highlight all that stuff right at the beginning. Because I feel like for folks who are interested specifically in that, I wanted to kind of like do that as well. And then this is actually, as far as segues are concerned, this is a segueing into showing the heliports, because that's the first thing I want to tackle, is showing you these fancy things about the heliports. And then we're also going to begin our session in earnest, so to speak, with some heliport related things. Okay, fine. I'll put the switch down over here. Yep. Go ahead and get our medium voltage wire. Up over here. I actually wonder, it looks like It looks like the near snap doesn't apply to these like wires either. It's not snapping to be parallel, which is I wouldn't mind that. I would actually quite like that, being able to make parallel power lines more cleanly. So we'll continue this up this way. Let's go ahead and get a substation maybe up over here. We got to spread the load up over here. As we saw last session, it's pretty ridiculous just how much weight there is on like 2 electric substations. So we know this is a problem. And we actually do need to rework our grid almost entirely, to be perfectly frank, because this did not connect with it. We need to rework our grid because it is certainly not built up to spec, as it were. It does not have everything it needs. It's not cleanly built, so we'll spend some time at some point doing exactly that. Let's go ahead and finish this connection up over here. There we go. Commission all of that. Let's go ahead and commission you as well. Cool. We'll have power up at the hospital now, and these guys have power. These guys don't have power. Evidently, they don't need power to teach, babysit, to kindergarten. What's the verb there? The daycare? I don't know. Go ahead and fund you as well. Yeah, okay, cool. So that should get all these guys done, and we'll have power up over here. What is... Hold on. Okay, cancel contract. I wasn't sure what I was looking at there. Okay, so this hospital is actually ideal for this then. Let's go ahead over to infrastructure, over to airplane, and over to our heliports. Now, from my understanding so far, I can put down a passenger heliport, and that's for passengers to come and go. But these flat heliports, much like these airplane parking spots, they are able to connect to other buildings. So you'll see the passenger heliport platform is its isolated thing, but these heliports, you'll notice how the hospital gets highlighted. I don't know if this applies to, let's go ahead and find out right now. I don't know if this applies to fire stations as well, but it'd be pretty cool to have, yes it does. Okay, awesome. You can use, now I don't know how, okay. I have some questions, and we'll get to them as soon as I establish this up over here. So, this means that you can have people brought to the hospital via helicopter, which I think is pretty cool. Let's go ahead and flatten the train over here. I think I'm safe to click auto build right now. Go ahead and flatten this. So that was one of the things I wanted to highlight about these heliports, is that they are attachables, let's call them. They will attach to other buildings. You can put them down separately as well to make them, you know, places to drop people off or pick people up or what have you, I guess. Or to just stop a chopper, I guess, if you want to store it somewhere. But you want to make sure that you are getting this green highlight to actually attach it. Now, we could put this down maybe up like that. Wouldn't be a terrible idea. We could have a pair of 3 on either side. Sure, I think that's pretty sick. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and flatten a bit more. And we'll go ahead and auto-build these heliports so I can show you some more of how it's been integrated. Let's go ahead and flatten. This is such a huge update. This is one of the reasons I love this game so much, and I keep saying that this is a great example of how to do early access. Look at how huge this update is. I was hoping that I'd be able to talk about this in like 10-15 minutes. Now, again, to be fair, I do have a tendency to like belabor points from time to time. I know that I'm trying to get better at that. But there is a lot to talk about. There's a lot to show. There's a lot of different ways these things can be integrated. And me, in my haste to try and show it, we've spent a lot of time talking about, you know, despite my haste in trying to show it, spent a lot of time talking about this stuff. But yeah, let's go ahead and get these down. I'm glad that at least now we're doing stuff that will be a part of our nation moving forward. Is this connected? Yeah, it is. So let's go ahead and pop you down over here. Make sure, again, you want that green highlight to make sure it's actually connected. And I want to show you guys, you'll see over here, emergency ambulance. No fuel. This thing was recently completed, wasn't it? I think it was. Okay, really quickly now. Let's go ahead down to this distribution office over here. Let's go ahead and add a new connection to this. Oof, we're at our limit. That's unfortunate. I think we can ignore, because this is a bit of a mixed bag, and I want this to be a fuel-only thing. So let's go ahead and stop with this rail construction office stuff, because we haven't used the rail construction offices for a while now. Yeah. There's all this as well. Moving clothes and crops and stuff around. The rail construction offices, let's unassign. Again, this is temporary, don't worry. I just need to remember that I did this. So cancel you and cancel you. And hang on a second. Oh, right. This is one of the new changes as well. I don't know if... I don't know how I feel about this. And I'll tell you why. Where's my fire station up over here? It's right over here in the center. Yeah. Yeah, these guys need fuel as well. So this was a change they made to... This is what I mean, right? It's a big change. There's lots of little things, lots of big things, lots to talk about. So previously, fire trucks, ambulances, they all used to have to go to a gas station to pick up fuel, to pick up gas. But now they are storing it at their buildings so that these vehicles do not have to go and pick up fuel. What I want to find out is if it is necessary. I'm not getting a warning up over here, despite having vehicles. I'm not getting a warning. So hopefully these guys will refuel at gas stations. We need to keep an eye on this. This could be a big thing. This could be a big change. We might need a whole other distribution office just to distribute fuel to these emergency services and whatnot. Okay, fair enough. Anyway, back to where I was before, up over here with our hospital. The camera, by the way, also feels a bit smoother. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's a placebo effect. But it feels a lot smoother. But right over here, you'll see emergency ambulances. If we go ahead to purchase vehicles, we can get ourselves ambulances. Fantastic. But if we go and establish this heliport, by the way, there's the cargo heliports as well. But if we establish this heliport, pop it down over here, make sure it's hooked up, like so. Then, right, sorry, I just realized. Let's keep this. Oh no, okay. Then you can see, I just had to close and reopen this, I guess. You can see we now have the helicopter option as well. Oh right, and they've got this favoriting system as well if you want to start marking your favorites. Not sure exactly how favorites will show up, but you can do that now, that's a thing. Anyway, you can see you can get choppers for your hospital now. Not sure exactly how they move and how they work. I'm not sure exactly how they pick people up and drop them off, but we're going to find out together. Let's go ahead and put down a second setup over here. Pop you down over here, actually. Okay, I'm going to ignore the lack of perfection there, though I can't recall for the life of me if it actually hooked up properly there. Yeah, looks like it did. Go ahead and pop you down over here, so it's more similar to its counterpart over here. Yes, it sticks out a bit, but that's fine. And let's go ahead and hook these guys up. Too steep over here, it looks like, so why don't we have from center, because we can't, presumably. Is it really that steep? Come on now. I wonder if... Let's try this. This one can go down over here, that's great. I wonder if I shouldn't... Let's do this. Flip that guy around. Remember, auto build is on. I always forget. That thing always throws me off. Pop you down like so instead. And again, I'm fine with auto building these heliports. And pull you down to here. Go a little bit further over, because I think we'll need a bit more room to hook this thing up. Some other infrastructure's in the way. Interesting you should say that. And we pull this out. Building is in the way. I don't think it likes this, how tight this is. Alright, fair enough. We'll leave the second one for later then. I'll find a way to like hook up the road properly. I don't want to demolish this hospital right now or anything. I mean, we could get rid of the footpath here. I think we just need to smooth this a little bit. Come on now. Go ahead and smooth this. I would like this to be a one and done, you know. I don't want to have to come back here and reconsider the road and whatnot. Pop you down there. Yeah, that should work. Alright, cool. Plane, teleport, flip you around, and pop you down there. Last attempt, folks. Go ahead and hook you up like so. Oh, there we go. That's all I needed. You can actually hook this up over here. Not perfectly clean, doesn't need to be, but a little bit better than that, I think. Okay, this way. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's so much better. Cool. And then over here, again, I don't know precisely how this will or will not work, but in theory, this should work. Put you down here, hook you up over here, hook you up over here. There we go. Now, let's go ahead and hit play. These things will get done. Building is without power supply still. That's because this thing is not done yet. There we go. We have power. Patients are being treated, and you can see the notifications coming up over here. Unemployment too high. All these notifications are going to start popping up, and we're going to have to... I mean, I like that they show up. I think it's a good thing. But given our current circumstances and the way we're expanding right now, there's going to be a lot of notifications. These things are almost done over here. Oh, by the way, I guess I should do my usual 77.9 is our population, so we're looking pretty good over there. Unemployment is high, but not because of any train jams, I don't think. There's one area that... yeah, I think it's just because we have so many people. We need to do something about that ASAP. ASAP. But today we're going to spend some time looking at some of this fancy new stuff, and hopefully we'll be able to, yeah, make some progress with the nuclear city and stuff too. Alright, so these guys are done. Let's go ahead and now purchase helicopters. I'm going to go ahead and get... I feel like the red and white one just makes sense for hospital, right? The right color scheme. 8 passengers, it looks like. 8? Yeah. We don't need a chopper that can carry 22 passengers, or 47 passengers, or 28 passengers when you're trying to bring a sick person and maybe their closest, family to the hospital, right? So let's go ahead and pick... Oh, that sound effect. Go ahead and pick a few of these guys up. We can also go ahead and grab some... well, actually, are we producing any of these guys up over here? Or why don't we go ahead and make some... Whoa, not bad. Make some down over here. Closer, and they won't get picked up and shipped off. Oh my god, we have so many cars over here. Holy crap. Right, they don't get automatically shipped over to the space for vehicles. They have to be trucked over, which I think is unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. Easy enough connection. We'll get some trucks doing that in no time. Why don't we go ahead and actually swap on over to producing the ambulance. Cancel that. We'll start producing the ambulance. Let's go ahead and make... sure, 5, why not? And let's go ahead and flip over then to the open hull truck. Make 3 of those, sure. And then we'll go back to making cars. Let's change what car they're making though. They've just been making the same car 1,000 times over. Let's at least change the color, right? And then what we'll do is we'll establish this to do our exports and whatnot. We've got way too many cars over here. We've been so distracted by the nuclear city and all that while we were in the middle of setting all this up. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. We're doing fine economically and everything. We have a surplus that will eventually drain from our nation. Okay, so ambulances are coming, but meanwhile they have these helicopters. The question is, where do these choppers land? Now, I don't know if they will land like on rooftops or in the middle of the streets to drop to pick people up. Sorry. If you take a look at heliports, you can't do anything. You can't attach them to buildings, to houses, to residential buildings, I mean. There is the passenger heliport platform, which I would assume is a way of getting people to the hospital. I mean, typically you do this only for remote hospitals, by the way. You wouldn't have a chopper flying around a major city center bringing people to the hospital, typically. That's not entirely true. That's not entirely true. You do need heliports at those hospitals so that if somebody were to break a leg, let's say on this mountain over here, you'd be able to chopper them down and whatnot. So maybe not 6 heliports, maybe not 6 helipads, but I guess it's fair to have a couple. Where to put a chopper down at Brixtonia, like a pad down here at Brixtonia, so people can be taken up to a big city hospital, I suppose, if necessary. This heliport is pretty massive, though, as you can see. Pop it down over here or something. Yeah, sure. This is just for, I mean, it's kind of just for experimentation. It might not stay here, we might get rid of it. I'm not, again, like I said, I've experimented with a lot of this stuff, but some of this stuff I still have to test how it works, and I think it's pretty cool to explore some of this stuff together. I don't want to be completely unaware of how things work, obviously, but some things it's fun, I think, to discover together. This is a nice spot, I think, for a chopper. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit further away from the housing over here. I don't know if anybody can get to it, is the thing. People can get to this bus stop, but is this too far away? I guess we'll find out, folks. I guess we'll find out. Let's go ahead and flatten. I can ask questions for days. Let's go ahead and find some answers, right? All right. Pop you down there. Go ahead and get our footpath connection. I want to connect over here to you. Building in the way. This is too many intersections going on over here. They don't like how that works, to be perfectly honest. I should be able to put a footpath down over here. Might as well just keep this road then. I could do like this kind of a thing. Pull this down to here. Pull this up to there. Hook you up to this, I guess. Don't know what good that does us, but sure, why not? And I guess we could go ahead and fund this construction as well using rubles. Just to see how this kind of works, how things move. Go ahead and pay for you too. This thing's gonna take some time, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Well, why don't you notify me when finished, and let's see if I actually notice that notification come through. In the meanwhile, let's go ahead and talk about the situation down over here, which is what spawned, you know, a big part of this conversation. St. Elitesburg over here, we've got a fire. I think we'll be fine. Fire truck was called and headed in. Yeah, they're right next to a fire station. They'll be fine. Ooh. Nah, we wouldn't be able to fit. Maybe. A little tight. We'd have to move this. We might be able to put one down over here and just see how they function. Maybe. Y'all let me know what you think. Oh, we have a chopper. Whoa, hang on a second, we've got a chopper. Yo, what the hell? I was not expecting to see one in action. I was like, what is that? What is that noise? Yo, are you kidding me? This is dope. All right, view this vehicle. And let's see what it gets up to. This is so cool. Oh my god. We got another chopper off in the distance there. Oh, I'm so excited. This is dope. All right. Let's see what you do here, buddy. All right, so you're gonna actually pull down right in the middle of the street, eh? Yeah. And I mean, yeah, sure, that's perfectly reasonable. Choppers can land wherever they need to. Well, not wherever they need to, within reason. I just wasn't expecting it from the game. This is so cool. This is so cool. I can't be the only one who feels this way. Picks up a student who's injured. All right, cool. We're getting back up. Oh, yeah, look at that. Pulling back out of the city. Yes, and there's the other chopper over there in the distance. Dude, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? I got this stupid grin on my face right now because I'm so pleased. I am so pleased. Look at that. These developers, can we just take a moment to like appreciate just how crazy this is? You're kidding me, man. You're kidding me. That's amazing. This wasn't a thing. Nice. This wasn't a thing in the game. And now here we are. You got choppers flying around bringing patients to hospitals. You got firefighter choppers as well, presumably, otherwise why would you be able to, you know, attach them to fire stations? This is cool. All right, so what that means then, actually, is that this is unnecessary. It's been finished now, but it is entirely unnecessary. A lot of people can get here. They can take a chopper to work, actually. You know what? Why not? We do have some unemployment over here. This is actually going to work out nicely. Because we do have some unemployment over here. Not a lot. A little bit. Not a lot. There's more unemployment up over there. Could have people busing over to the choppers here and then take them over to the construction site or something. Okay. Okay. We've got the bus stop up over here. These guys can all get to. Yeah. Hopefully that's where they're all going. You can see there's a fair bit of unemployment here. Hopefully that's where they are all going. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at how we can make this work. I don't think anybody's driving. I guess you could make some parking lots and people could drive over. I don't know how likely that is. Let's get a bus. Just go ahead and buy one. Go ahead and buy. It doesn't have to be a very large one. Let's try and get. Because you can only move so many passengers at a time at a heliport, right? Go ahead and get the short distance to move too. Bus. Wish a minibus was an option, like a microbus was an option as a filter. These guys are always cute and fun. Sure, let's get the PZ 672 from 1990. If I favorite you, you get moved to the front of the line. Alright, good enough. Makes sense to me. Alright, so why don't we go ahead and say you will start over here, go to over here. You're gonna load up on, alright? Gonna load up on workers of all types. Unload workers of all types. Yeah. And then over here, okay, let's leave this be for now, because of how the construction office is going to work. Geez, I don't know how smoothly this is going to work, by the way, but we'll find out. We'll find out. So that's that setup over there. I'm starting to get more and more concerned about the delivery of fuel, because it did just occur to me, these choppers will need fuel, right? Like, they need fuel. How are they getting fuel? They're not stopping at a gas station. They got to get fuel from, presumably, the storage of the hospital, right? Let's keep an eye on that, see when the choppers stop flying. We'll make some moves then. Okay, just some stuff for me to, like, note down for myself. Okay, so let's get to work over here. I'm gonna go ahead and build again. Let's go with construction related helicopter construction office. I would pop you down over here somewhere. Pop you down even further down, perhaps, just to keep it a bit further away from all this. Building on fire. More grain ski. Ooh. Okay, more grain ski should be fine. There's a fire station nearby. Oh, looks like we're getting some rain. There you go. Full-on visual effects of rain. You can see the ground gets wet as well. You can see the vehicles get wet. I don't know exactly what it affects. I don't know if, for example, it helps put out fires or anything. Or, like, you know, airplanes get grounded if it's particularly rainy or anything like that. Doesn't seem to be the case. But hey, it's a nice bit of visual variety. It's a little too dense if you zoom out too far. Not a fan of that. As something where you might want to occasionally zoom out. Not ideal. Wow, look at that thick, like, fog as well. That's pretty. And looks like we're all cleared up. Cool. I'm glad we got to see that during the session, actually. Yeah. Down over here. Traffic jam. Oh, it actually tracks traffic jams. Oh, that's fine. It's not a jam. It's just queuing up. Delete all messages so I can read them as they come through. Maybe stay on top of it, actually, for once. Alright, sure. So, you can see there's an input for fuel up over here if you wanted to store fuel in the area. Might not be a terrible idea. Pop you down up over here. I don't think we'll be able to hook up to this properly. Yeah, it's a little too steep of a drop there, I assume. Yeah, let's go ahead and flatten height from center for this, please. But use lower train. It's a little bit faster at first. Pull this down. Man, there's a lot of newness over here. Now, again, I would love to hear from all of y'all. Today, especially, this update had a lot to cover, a lot to talk about. And I wanted to talk about it during a session, because that way I think all of us can collectively get excited for everything that's coming up. And you get moments like we got with the helicopter. I like those kinds of moments to be shared moments personally. But I'd love to hear your feedback, your thoughts on stuff like that. Because I'm always trying to be a better, content creator, entertainer, whatever you want to call it, a better YouTuber. And your feedback makes a big difference. So let me know down below, if you appreciated this approach to talking about the update, if you'd rather something else. I feel like it integrated pretty nicely with our plans as well. We could talk about a lot of our plans. I had a lot of good examples I could show using our existing circumstances as a source of information, source of examples. And so I thought it was a better approach. It's the way we've done it before as well, for those very same reasons. But I always keep an ear out for other people's thoughts. We could drop this down over here. Is there a better spot for it? We could rearrange some of these things, I suppose, and pop it down over here. Rearranging the power connections over here, though, would not be an easy thing to do. In fact, it would possibly be quite a pain. Yeah, sure, fine. Let's go ahead and stick with it down over here. that fuel connection is going to have a field today. Pop you down over here instead. That's only if we want to store a bunch of fuel in the area, which doesn't sound like a terrible idea. I want to leave the option open, obviously, if we need it. Fine, let's do this instead. Just rotate it a bit. Pop you down over here. The game will let me. Come on, any second now. Come on, there we go. We're going to go ahead and use a dirt road. We're going to use the dirt road to hook this up here. I don't think this is going to need... We're not going to need trolley buses up over here, right? So you're hooked up. Probably going to get this built before I can plan too much of this out. Go ahead and build... sorry. Ooh, actually... Nah. It would have been cool to test the underground pipe connections, but whatever, it's fine. Where is my infrastructure? Pipeline. Fuel storage. Hook this up like so, I guess. That should work just fine. The road will be a little funky, I think, but I think we'll be okay. Flatten that. There we go. Nice and smooth. Beauty. Flatten a bit more. Not letting me hook it up because I think it doesn't like... something was like blocking it. Can we... Nah. The wires are in our way. I don't like that. Not the end of the world, though. Go ahead and... hook you up like so. Come on. Come on. Gotta make sure it's flat enough for the road as well. I don't think it is. I wish I could at least get a read on like what kind of steepness is acceptable for road to... I'm sure there is information. Like there are cold hard numbers or whatever you want to call it. Wish it was on screen, I guess. Come on, man. Flatten away. This is actually a huge height difference. Guess I'm glad I checked. There we go. Could be closer to good now. Right from center. Yikes. Push back quite a bit. Let's go, let's go. Tempted to just pay for this for real. Auto build using rubles. Supposed to be faster. Typically it's faster. Oh, is that as far as we can go? See what this gives us here. Flat terrain that corner. Ah, there we go. Cool. There we go. Excellent. Hook you up like so. Fire extinguished. Excellent. Flatten a bit more over here. Just want that line to be straight if possible. It'll also make the road connection not just easier, but also actually possible. There we go. I think that's as straight as we'll get it. Come on. Okay. Do that. Building in the way. I hate when like the actual building is bigger than it looks. It's like, how am I supposed to plan around that? There we go. Not fly like I wanted it to. It's okay. It's okay. Pull this up this way instead. Because honestly, this road connection is largely going to be for firefighters and stuff anyway. Pull you up. Pull you around. Flatten this a bit. The trucks will drop fuel off at a fuel loading and unloading spot. You out from here. Oh. Blow this to me, gang. Over to our pipes. It's been so long since I put these pipes down. Oil, fuel, loading and unloading. One of these, yep. And of course it's got to face this way. Man, this is the stuff that kills me sometimes. Why can't I just flip it the other way around? You know what? We'll just have trucks deliver it directly over here for now then. Just in the interest of making some progress over here. Question is, how do I get road to work? There we go. Life finds a way. Beautiful. And we've got the near snap, so you can see it kind of like going parallel to it. Not exactly what I want necessarily. Why don't we go ahead and do that, and then that. Cool. Yeah, sure. That works for me. Good enough. Good enough. So that's that taken care of. Let's go ahead and just pay for this. We have construction offices assigned, but let's go ahead and just kind of pay for this. And we'll pay for this as well. Come on now. Now what's going on up over here? Ooh, nice. Your passengers are waiting, and that's fine because, you know, they're unemployed otherwise. Like, I think it's okay. There's this massive line of buses coming up at the same time. Oh, probably construction offices or something. Alright, fair enough. You guys done yet? Not yet. Soon, soon. And what are our choppers up over here looking like? Are they grounded? They're empty. Yeah. Where else are they going to get fuel from? Cool, good to know. Good to know. So why don't we go ahead over to the distribution office and add you. I said add you. There we go. Unload fuel. Good. Cool. That's cool. That's very cool. Let's also, while we're waiting for the heliport and helipad and construction office and stuff to be built, I'm going to go ahead and get you. One thing I forgot to put down over here is a vehicle depot, didn't I? You gotta have a vehicle depot to actually be able to assign these vehicles where to go. We're just going to go ahead and build one today. I built one so long. Road vehicle depot. There you go. Go ahead and put you down. Like so, perhaps. That's a suitable spot for a depot. Yeah, sure. For now. Establish a new spot some other time if necessary. Go ahead and pay for these things as well. They take a lot longer to build. It feels like it takes longer to build stuff now when you're just using money for it. But these ambulances should be able to send directly. I want to go ahead and do that. That's my priority today, I suppose. Send the ambulance over. Yeah. That works. Get all of these guys scooped up and headed over to the hospital. Like all of them. Okay, done. Excellent. Unemployment too high. Yeah, you can see these notifications coming through. It's like, alright, I know. I'll deal with it. Down over here, do we still have a jam? I think we're not jammed right now. That's good. Haven't had a jam all session. We've been largely paused, though, to be fair. So this guy. Alright, cool. So, here we go. If I want to assign a place to pick up workers, I obviously, as you can imagine, cannot assign a trolley bus stop or a parking lot or a bus stop or anything like that. I have to assign a heliport. I want to go ahead and do that, right? To pick up gravel, I can't just go ahead and pick it up at a at one of these. What I need to do is I need to set up. I go to infrastructure. One of these cargo platforms. There are a few ways to connect them. Right. What I could do is I could establish one here just for, again, showcase purposes, and then we'd have to tweak it later. I wouldn't mind breaking some of these roads over here, actually. They've never been my, like, favorite connections. Why don't we go ahead and do that? Watch, I live to regret this. I do need to make sure that folks are able to get back to this warehouse over here. Drop mechanical components and electronic components. Though, if I take a quick look, we get pretty wild. Get pretty wild over here. Sure. Why don't we go ahead and try it? Hope I don't live to regret this. Knowing my luck. If I pop down a cargo platform, Look up over here. Could do this. Vehicles would need to be able to come down over here, which they can up here, rather than come down this way, which is fine. Other option is this, right? The road won't connect that way. At least this way we can connect the road. Alright, let's try this. Because if I pop this down here, we can't do the big one. There is the 3 connection. We can't do that over here. Go ahead and use this one. Pop you down. Enable infrastructure. Alright. Move these power lines momentarily. Hopefully, momentarily. Pop you down over here. The road is in the way and everything. Don't know if this is gonna fly. There we go. Flatten. Pop you down. Is this road gonna work? Building in the way. Didn't think so. Didn't think so. This is too tight for, yeah. Alright, fair enough. You know what? That's not gonna work. We're gonna have to come up with a better solution over here. And I'm fine with that, obviously. Never had any issue with that. Gonna hook these guys back up. Auto build all this stuff again. Make sure... I think this connection works quite nicely. We should keep it this way. But what I'll need to do then is create a system of storage up over here somewhere, so that the choppers are able to come through, pick up the cargo, take it over to the construction site. Lots to do still to get the stuff working. Now, funnily enough, up over here, I'm sure some progress has been made already. As you can see, we do have buses coming through with workers. You can see some of the resources are being delivered as well. We have made some progress up over here while we've been pressing play for the little limited time that we've had time move forward. But I think it's been kind of necessary to just take a look at everything that's possible now and take a look at all the options we have moving forward and make sure everything is working okay. I mean, hopefully we're going to have fuel delivered here soon and these choppers will start moving again. Looks like the ambulances have started arriving, which is great. But yeah, how cool is it that we actually have, you know, we have some of this stuff implemented and working already. Man, that's pretty dope. I just think it's cool that these guys are even a thing, or even have even been implemented. Electricity problem. All these notifications we get up over here. I don't think these guys need power. Oh, yeah, I don't think they need power. It looks like they're not. Oh crap. Right. Such a fool I am. My bad. Go back and hook these things back up. Where are we? Back over here. Hook you up there. Pay for you. And the high voltage connection. Which one is this? These guys, I think. Hook you up. Like so. Sure. Yeah, sure. Cool, that should solve the problem. It's just it's not that they don't have any access to power, it's that they didn't have access to enough power, so it was fluctuating. Alright, there is a lot to do still to get all this set up. I was hoping it would be a bit smoother, but I guess there are more moving parts than I'd anticipated, and again, retroactively installing and inserting some of these things is not super easy. I'll try and figure out a way to maybe make this work, because it would be ideal if we're able to put that heliport down over here. We might need to shift some of the electrical, you know, wiring and whatnot, and maybe put it down over here. Find a way to establish this area over here, or maybe down over here or something. I don't know. I'm sure there's a solution in there somewhere, or we just set up this space over here as a spot to have construction stuff. Because much like the workers being picked up from a platform, from a helipad, the same holds true for just passengers coming over here for no real reason. I know I can cancel it. I'll do that eventually. But as I was saying, the same holds true for cargo. However, folks, we are already well over the usual length of a session. We're like 10 minutes past the usual. I apologize we weren't able to get those choppers up and supplying resources to these construction sites. But on the flip side, at least we know what we have to look forward to next time. We're going to get those choppers up and running. Hopefully Hopefully it'll be fast and smooth to get those choppers up in the air, and we'll get some more planning done for our nuclear city as well, right? We'll get some more progress up over here, figure out how we're gonna establish that tourist area. Now that we have choppers again, we can plan with that in mind too. Very excited for next session, folks. I hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you enjoyed all we got down to. Hope you enjoyed the format as well, and exploring all of the various options that this latest update has brought for us. Yeah, you can see this kind of... they need to add like an asphalt footpath or something to make it just invisible. Go ahead and pop you down over here. Sure, while we've got this open. But yeah, folks, hope you had a good time. If you did, you know what to do. Let me know by leaving a like and a comment down below. As I said before, it makes a very massive difference, not just for me personally, just kind of having an idea of what y'all are interested in, what you want to see more or less of, but it also helps just with how YouTube works and all that kind of stuff. Again, I do read all of the comments as well, so if you have any thoughts you'd like to share, any opinions on everything we looked at today, the choppers, the airlifting patience, and all that kind of stuff, whatever it might be, if you have any questions, any concerns, any thoughts, any opinions, anything at all, leave a comment. It will get read. It will get addressed. Very excited for what comes next, folks. This is going to be some really cool stuff. Just having choppers ferrying folks over to help build the nuclear city. It's going to be, oh man, it's going to be good times. It's going to be good times. Anyway, folks, that is it for the session today. As always, a massive thanks goes out to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, das vidania.